Hello guys, in this video we're gonna talk about brain mapping, which is another confusing term for a lot of patients, and they may ask you questions. When Dr. Moreno or the other physicians do brain mapping, it doesn't mean that they're mapping the brain of the patient. That is done with fMRI, for example, or other technologies. Brain mapping in TMS terms means that they find the right intensity of stimulation for that patient. The machine has a dial from 0 to 100, and every one of us is different based on brain anatomy and head anatomy. And so we need to find what is the ideal intensity of stimulation for each and every one of us. So the way that happens is that the physician goes on top of the motor cortex, which, as you know, crosses. It's not direct, but is actually crossing our body, and determines what is the minimum intensity of stimulation for every patient to see a movement in their fingers. What does that mean? That means that when they see a movement, the cortex, the motor cortex, has received enough intensity of stimulation to be stimulated, to be excited. And with those values, then we move to the locations that we need to stimulate, our typical locations, the dorsolateral PFC or the supplementary motor area, after we find this motor threshold, because we know that that is the intensity to basically stimulate brain cells. And it means that when we move fingers, the motor cortex and the neurons there have been excited, so we have reached the cortex of the patient. So then we move around to whatever location we need to do. So brain mapping is that procedure that lasts about 5 minutes before we start any patient to do TMS, to find what is the correct intensity of stimulation for that patient. And that is, in a nutshell, what brain mapping is.